Hi, let's start new topic, triggers. When you talk about triggers, these are the events. Consider that you need to capture the data on certain event. For example, if you have inserted into one table and then you need to keep a track who have inserted that. So on the insert table, automatically one event should happen. That is nothing but what? Trigger. More realistic example I will give you. Consider the Facebook. So someone has changed the name. Someone changed the name. So change the name means what? There is an update query, right? My name is something and I'm changing it, which means that what's happening? There is an update query on user table where we are changing the name by means of the update. But I want to keep a track of old name as well as the new name. So how do you handle this scenario? This scenario can be handled by means of triggers. By means of what? Triggers. In the SQL, triggers are database objects that are automatically executed in response to specific events such as insertion, update, deletion on the tables. Triggers allow you to define the custom actions. Triggers allow you to define custom actions or logic that should occur when certain events happen, providing a way to enforce the data integrity, performing the audits or automated task, right? Triggers are defined at the database level and associated with the specific table. This is very important. Triggers are associated with the specific table. Triggers automatically triggered. They automatically triggered. That's why we call it as triggers, such as insert, update, and the delete. Trigger can be set to execute either before or after the events. Either before or after the events. This is important. Trigger can be executed either before or after. We are going to see actually in the code. They can be used to enforce the complex business rules, validating the data, maintaining the data integrity. So we have seen views, we have seen stored procedures, we have seen the triggers, and we are understanding the triggers. They are kind of abstracted, means instead of writing all the SQLs again and again, let's club it and execute the sequence. It's like that. So triggers also fall into that category, right? So if you want to execute the multiple action together or validation or some business rules, you write the trigger. Triggers are written in the SQL and can include the SQL statements, control flow logic, and references to the other tables, right? They provide mechanism to perform additional actions, validations, whatever. Triggers can be used for the auditing purpose, logging purpose. I have given one example. Even we are going to see one example around this. Each table can have multiple triggers associated with it and each responding to the different events. Now, in the MySQL, we can create the triggers. Okay, let's go here and I can say trigger .sql. As usual, open this with notebook. As usual, just drop database. Which database? Drop database YTDB, YouTube DB. Let's create the DB again. Create database. Create database YTDB. Okay, then use the database. Use YTDB. We have used it, and now let's create our tables and other things which are required for the triggers. So first let's create the trigger. So let me set the pitch over here. What we are going to see, as I told you, if someone changes the name, I want to, if someone changes the name, I want to track what was the old name and what is the new name, right? Whenever someone updates the name, changes means what? Updates the name. At that time, we need to keep a track what was the old name and what is the new name, kind of logging, right? This is kind of logging. So create customers, and customers would be having one primary key, customer ID, and the customer name. And someone changes this name, we need to keep a track. For keeping the track, we can create a new table. Here you can say new table, log ID, primary key, customer ID, old name, new name, and the change date when the event has happened. So customers and this thing, let's go here. Now it's time to create the trigger. So here I can say create trigger, audit name change, audit name change. Now see, after or before, we need to do this thing after update on which table? After update on which table? Customers table. After update on which table? Customers table. For each row, right? For each row, and then we can say begin and end. Now here we need to write the if condition. Remember that if conditions can be written in the PL/SQL block. So here you can say for each row, if new dot customer name, a new row would be referenced by new, see here, new dot customer underscore name, this is our column, is equals old dot customer underscore name. Then don't do anything. If it is not equals to, if customer dot name is not equals to, then we need to fire insert query, insert into this table customer audit log, insert into customer audit log, and then we need to add, you can say, we need to add customer ID, customer underscore ID, then old underscore name, then new underscore name, and change underscore date. So these columns we need to update into, insert into customer this values. Here we can say values new dot new dot new dot here we can say new dot customer ID, new dot customer underscore ID, old dot customer underscore name, new dot customer underscore name. And now if you remember, we have seen the function. If you want to get current date, we can have like this, and here we need to have the spaces, end if. So here we need to end the if statement. See now how you have created trigger. you have created trigger in something in this way. Might be we need a semicolon over here after the end. If there is a semicolon, yeah, it is working. Create the trigger audit underscore name underscore change after update on customers table, any update on the customer table, right? For each row, what do you mean by for each row? Over here it will check anything. So I will come back to this for each row little bit later. There are two more important things over here. If you can see, there is something called as old. There's something called, where is the old? Yeah, can you see old and new? There is something called as old and new. So when you talk about old and new, these would be referencing. So new is the keyword used to access the new values that are being inserted or updated in the row. New is what? Keyword. It's a keyword, remember that. Is used to access the new values that are being inserted or updated. Old, this keyword is used to access the old values that are being updated or deleted in the row. So these are predefined keywords. Now when you talk about for each row, meaning of this line, for each row, it specifies that the trigger will be fired once for each row affected by the triggering event. In the other words, it indicates that triggers action will be performed separately for each individual row that is inserted, updated or deleted. What is the meaning of each row? So triggers action will be performed separately for each individual row. Triggers action will be performed separately for each individual row that is inserted, updated or deleted by the triggering event. Remember that each row we have seen what is new, what is old. So this is not equals to, this is what? Not equals to, right? This is what? Not equals to. We can write it in other way also. If you remember the operators, if you remember the session for the operators, we have seen this part as well. Okay, now let's try to first insert the record. See, we are inserting, trigger should happen on update. Can you see? After update on the customer. So let's try to insert these two records. Okay, we have done this and select, here we can say star from customers, right? There are two records. Let's try to fire select on the customer audit log. Let's try to fire select star from customer audit log. Presently it is empty. Okay, now let's try to update the customer. Let's try to update the customer. I'll fire the update query over here. Unknown column, new underscore, okay, something unknown column new, okay, it's new dot customer ID. It was my mistake. Now we need to drop the trigger. Can you write in the comment box how do you drop the trigger? It's easy. Drop trigger, a name of the trigger, drop trigger. What's the name of the trigger? Audit name change. Okay, dropped. Let's try to recreate it again. Okay, created. Data has already been inserted. Let's try to update it. Can you see log.id doesn't have default value? Okay, I got it. So here there is a no auto increment. Auto increment. Okay. Now we need to drop the table also, and we need to create it again. Drop table customers. Okay. I could have altered it also. Okay, this is already exists, no problem. This recreated. This recreated. Let's drop the trigger. Let's drop the trigger. Okay, let's recreate it. Recreated the trigger. Insert into the customers. Select star from customers. 2 entries. Nothing. Try to update the customer name. The failed log underscore id doesn't have default value. Just a minute. Failed log underscore okay, just a minute. Auto increment primary key. Let's try to drop the table. Drop the table. Audit name underscore change. Okay. Let's recreate the table again. This table has been created. This already exists. Create. This has been created. Insert the data. Select star from customers. There is nothing. Log underscore id. Something is missing. Log underscore id. Int auto increment primary key. Okay. Oh, we need to drop this guy also because we have added the auto increment over here, right? And then we need to recreate it. It earlier also, which means that earlier also it was correct, but we didn't dropped it. That was the concern. My mistake. We need to drop this guy also because we have changed it. And that's why alter table works properly. Okay. So let's drop everything. Drop it. Drop it. Now let's create from beginning. Create the customers. Done. This done. Now create the trigger. Okay. Now insert into the customers table. Inserted. Select customers. Working. Select customers audit log. There is nothing, and try to update it. And can you see now update is working? My mistake. We have added the auto increment but didn't recreated the table. So you need to alter it. Okay. Now don't drop it again. Now we have updated. Now you can expect some data into the customer log table. Can you see that? Log ID auto incremented 1, customer ID we have said. Old name is John Doe and new name is John Smith, and change date is the current date. So you didn't add data into the customer audit log. So this has been added, or this has been inserted by this trigger. A real-time example I have shown you, right? Log. So if someone, even in the Facebook keeps a track of your activities, how triggers are there, right? Triggers might be working internally. I don't know, but you can relate the scenario. If someone has liked and it is coming into the activity log, how? Because some mechanism like trigger is working internally. You can imagine the thing over there in this way. I don't know they have used trigger or not, but just example I have given. So this is how triggers work. So documentation of the trigger I have created. Syntaxes are over here. Also, you may find this SQL in the Git repository. Triggers. Now, homework for you. I have created trigger after update. You can use before also. And I have done it on the update. You can do it on the insert and delete also. One more thing. Can you do this with the select statement? Write it in the comment box. So homework. See, I have given example with the after. Now you need to try with the before. Okay. And you need to try insert, update, delete. And you need to write it in the comment box that will trigger work with the select statements. I hope you have understood the triggers. If you have not understood the triggers, revise the video, right? If you have understood, well and good. Let me know in the comment section that you have understood the session. If you have any queries, questions, right, please write it in the comment box. Thanks for watching. We'll meet in the next video soon. Thank you. This is all about triggers.